making contact with Ty, who comes right back with the left several times. Domi's been the victor in 3 straight heavyweight matches. Let's see how this ends.
Well, there were some good punches. Whoa, they're still throwing. Get those linesmen out of there.
Barnaby and Ty Domi.
Well, there was a major league fight between 2 of the toughest birds in this league. Matthew Barnaby for Buffalo and Ty Domi for Toronto. Neither one of them nearly as big as most of the guys that make their living in the National Hockey League with fisticuffs.
That's Ty's 9th fight of the season.
Matthew Barnaby had 27 fighting majors last year and led the NHL in penalty minutes. 335 penalty minutes. Domi with 82 before this little scrap is 4th in the National League in that department.
Barnaby and Domi are still yapping back behind the play. Here they go, Barnaby and Domi. Barnaby and Domi inside the Buffalo line. Firing punches. Domi went down, he got up again. Now he connects with a couple. Barnaby comes back with a couple more. Barnaby and Domi just flailing away at each other. Domi loses his hat. Barnaby and Domi work their way all the way back to center ice, and the linesmen are now really starting to move in, and Barnaby drilled a right in there, and another one. They're dead tired, but they still try to get at each other. Domi trying to get the uppercuts in now. The linesmen get in there, and boy, oh boy, did they learn some duties.
I think there were some people around Toronto who thought Ty Domi was going to forget about that part of the game because he scored 2 goals the last game playing with Sundin. But Domi said in the paper, he said, heck, everybody around the NHL knows what my job is. It's not to score goals.
And whip it back out, and Domi and Barnaby are doing everything except firing punches. And now King comes over after Barnaby. And now Domi gets in there again. And the officials are in very quickly.
Well, Matt Barnaby hasn't been involved in anything tonight as far as penalties. And now he just gets pulled down by the linesman.
Brad Lazarowicz, who has a hold of Barnaby, who better cool it.
Barnaby says, well, I better get involved in something. He went over and started to pick on Domi. It was Barnaby who tried to egg Domi on, and Domi wouldn't have any of it. You're right, Barnaby better settle down, or he's going to get more than a couple of minutes here. Kerry Fraser, though, shouldn't be following him down the ice either.
I think Barnaby's already got more than a couple of minutes. He's being reluctantly led toward the door to the Buffalo bench, and that'll mean on to the dressing room.
Says, well, I expect we'll do it again. So, and he was saying, too, of course, they fought twice last night, and the reason they didn't go for the 3rd time, he said they thought about it, they talked about it, but if you fight 3 times, it's an automatic game misconduct.
Yep.
And of course, as you build up the game misconducts, then suspensions occur. Now, Barnaby and Ty Domi are having a long-distance conversation at the benches, and much to the delight of the players in both teams.
Again and offside, and now here's Domi and Barnaby going at it again, back inside the Leaf line, and that draws a crowd of zebras and in a hurry. Buffalo had a 3-0 lead in this period, but the Leafs of the last 2 trail only by 1.
A lot of talking. Of course, we mentioned Barnaby already with 2 major penalties. For fighting Chris King, and Domi just came out and belted him in the head from behind.
You can be sure he knew where Walcom, the referee, was before he did that.
And Shannon, though, made a strong play in the neutral zone on Domi as he knocked it
back. Barnaby twisting around. Barnaby gaining center ice. Over to Zhitnik. Takes the shot, scores! Zhitnik into the empty net, and then Domi went after Barnaby at center ice. And Buffalo will win this one 6-3.
And of course, what does Matthew do, though? He skates right at him. You know, he's just looking for something himself. And of course, Domi will oblige him.
Well, Domi got a penalty on the play, but he's still sitting on the Toronto bench. He didn't go to the penalty box, that's fine, but he's got to go to the dressing room at least. And now Rick Lee comes over and suggests that that might be a good idea. Now he got a misconduct too. So. Doesn't matter, he can't stay on the players' bench, no matter how you look at it.
Now Buffalo here with Pekka, Ward, Verada. Domi heads to the Toronto dressing room.
And now off come the gloves, and here's Ty Domi in the center ice area with Matthew Barnaby. The helmet is off. Now Ty trying to get an arm free, and Barnaby is in tight. The right arm is free. The uppercut didn't get through. The right hand hits the back of the head. Now the uppercut landed squarely, trying to get the left hand free.
This isn't the mismatch that Domi usually comes up against with reference to height and weight. Barnaby's only 183 pounds. But he likes doing this.
Now the helmet is off Ty, and the jersey is attempting to come over the top. Now Ty's trying to introduce him to the rest of his teammates. And the linesmen, Dvorsky and Dan McCourt, are going to separate them here.
Well, Matthew Barnaby's a popular player. He often is. He was in Buffalo. He was in Pittsburgh among the fans that like.
Just got a piece of it. Now you got Domi and
Matthew Barnaby.
Yep.
The two penalty-minute leaders of their respective teams. They go right for the helmets. Domi trying to go with the right hand and coming up short a couple of times. Domi came underneath with a right. Now Barnaby trying to get an arm free to counter. The linesmen continue to let them go. Barnaby trying to work that jersey over Domi's head. Matthew coming in, leading the Lightning with 233 minutes in penalties, ranking 13 behind the league leader Peter Worrell of the Panthers. They're separated here at 13:43.
Domi have been involved in these things before. Here's Barnaby with Pittsburgh. He was traded from Pittsburgh to Tampa for Wayne Primo. So these two guys know each other well. When Barnaby was in Buffalo and Domi was in Toronto, they got together on a regular basis.
And there'll be a 5-minute major penalty for each. Barnaby is pasted there by Ty Domi. They start looking at one another, and here we go. Domi throws the last glove in the direction of Barnaby, now trying to throw a right hand in the direction of Barnaby. Boy, these two have seen one another more than a little bit. Now Ty trying to drag that sweater up over his head, and Domi has the sweater pulled over his head.
They got to tell each other who's fighting here.
That's right.
You can see through the white one easier than the black one, I think.
Is that what it is? Well, Ty's finding out because he's able to get a few more in on Barnaby. And down they go.
Matthew Barnaby led the National League in penalty minutes with 265 last year. And of course, Barnaby.
This is what started it tonight.
Barnaby thrown into the boards right in front of the Leaf bench by Domi, and away they go. Not much talking.
There was the last glove that went in there. 2 minutes, 41 seconds.
Barnaby's over at Domi. Here we go.
There we go.
Barnaby sticking up for his teammate. I don't like Barnaby's chances. Domi hasn't fought a whole lot, Sam. He's not happy here, and he's taking care of Barnaby. You know, Domi went over at Malakoff, and this is Matthew Barnaby sticking up for his guys. How about Barnaby? Well, how about he had the scrap with Chara? Chara for Ottawa is the green giant of the NHL, and Malakoff, the defenseman, and Domi went at him and broke a stick. And so Barnaby went over and said, listen, you're going to mess with one of our guys? Come on, let's go. And so that's out of Ty's system, and Barnaby took one for the team.
8:29 to go in the third.
Domi and Barnaby throwing punches. Ty's got him in a little trouble. Now the linesmen get in, but Ty isn't finished. He's still throwing uppercuts.
Matthew Barnaby's been a pretty good boy tonight. And didn't look too interested in making that.
Hands it ahead for Matthew Barnaby. Be watched by McCabe. Barnaby back to the line to Leach. Trying to send that pass into Mark Messier. Now a fight behind the play. It's Domi and Barnaby.
See what Brian McCabe did? So that no other Ranger could step in. He says, no, this guy's going to take his punishment. He is going to take his punishment. You guys stay out. And you know what? This will happen again this game.
Yes.
This will. And I said to Matthew Barnaby this morning, you and I were visiting with the Rangers, and I said, Matthew, you heal fast. He goes, nah, quick healer, no problem at all. Nolan never hurt me. See, Ty Domi identified Barnaby, and Barnaby knows he's got a job to do, so he's got to go, and Ty Domi's a professional. He's very good at this. And you go back to
Face off, but that one there, it didn't seem to be. Barnaby and Domi.
Round two, second meeting of the game.
Ty threw him with his left hand last time. Marchment goes over and cuts off Messier. Simon goes over and he grabs Marchment. Ty throwing him with his lefts. He gets you off balance.
He is very, very strong.
Oh, yeah, he's got Barnaby down. Oh, he's hitting him while he's down. He won out. Here's Marchment and Simon, Sam. Marchment, he hit Simon in the face. Simon dropped his gloves, and away they go.
Hasn't dropped his glove now.
Oh, he has. Oh, Marchment's going to eat some here, I think. Oh, you can see now somebody, Domi grabs, the reason Tucker, Domi grabs Simon from behind.
This is what happened in the first period.
Now, here's where Simon wanted to go at Marchment because Marchment stood up on Nedved earlier in the game. You know, Simon could have had an instigator on that play.
Right.
He could have had an instigator. The referees decided not to. Then they made an atrocious call later with with Nolan and Simon. Then Messier got a 10-minute-er. Then Domi's gone twice with Barnaby.
By the Calgary Flames, and when we do, we'll provide highlights of this particular tussle. Matthew Barnaby against Ty Domi in Toronto tonight. It was entertaining, to say the least.